Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 Law Resistance, and we're looking at the intel and trying to learn and understand that even better. And hello, Arno, good to have you here. Well, yeah, we had a time shift here in the United States. So yeah, actually happened last weekend, but and I think you guys will be catching up. So actually I started the same time here, but compared to Europe, yeah, I am a little earlier. Let's create a unit here. We're going to give this to Guderian. And we're going to give this one to Rommel. And I don't know how it tagged out the difference on Twitch. I didn't look if I need to change the time. Starting time or not. I didn't think I did, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I did need to. So yep, Arno, you've missed all the good parts of this stream. Nothing's left going to be good. Okay, yeah, some more civil factories. I think with all the intel stuff. And I do sort of like that it is using some level of factories. I think either you need to give us a lot more some more factories, or you need to just 5 factories, 25 days, 10 factories. Yes. I'm not saying it's not appropriate, but you got it. It's the balancing situation, and maybe they gave us more German factories, but I don't think so. I play too many mods to. Yeah, we'll form the cryptography department. Okay, yes, we're getting ready. 12 more days for that. Of course, Arno. Okay, well, political power versus civilian ICs. That's an interesting thought. Now, Hearts of Iron 4, I mean Hearts of Iron 3, and I know most of you, and I recently found out that Ari hadn't really played Hearts of Iron 3 before. So, but most of you have played Hearts of Iron 3. They do most all of this stuff with leadership. And some of what they did, I agreed with lumping it together. You know, do you have, you know, your, shall we say, your educated class within a country? Yeah, do you put more of them into officers in the field, or do you have them in research departments? And so some of that is going and steal Dutch blueprints. Maybe you get the to flood my country blueprint. That's a good one, yes. Steal the flood the country blueprint. Doesn't work so well with countries with mountains, though, Arno. So, yeah, just reading the chat there. So, what they wanted to do as a design philosophy for Hearts of Iron 4, and I agreed with it, is, because it's not always a zero-sum game, is break up that leadership metric, if you will. And so I think they should do that. I don't know if they've done it well. And if everything just becomes political power, it'd be the wrong thing to do. I say that because political power is described as, you know, when you change out, especially like cabinet level, but even like military staff, because you look at the Blomberg-Fritsch affair, where they get rid of the head of the army. That was a bit of upset, and very much of an upset within the army. And so if you're like swapping out heads of your militaries out every 3 months, you're causing chaos in your government. You're causing chaos in your military organization. So you need the political power to smooth it over, but also in those sort of terms, but also in sort of game terms, you're limiting them from doing that by not giving them unlimited amounts of political power. So yeah, and also doing something like, oh, well, we're going from, limited conscription to extensive conscription, or we're changing our import-export policies. That's a major change in your country. So I don't know about the research production elements here for political power. Yeah, I can see some of this, but not so much. And I think they might even agree with me on something like this, but they just didn't have and want to put in just another one of these things. As I'm coming to understand this more and more, I think the idea of spy agencies and agencies, meaning more than one, and which could be expressed somehow within this chart, but I would really love to do competing agencies. Like British intelligence and SOE often didn't share intelligence between each other, didn't want to tell each other, because especially British intelligence did not trust SOE to keep its secrets. So it would not want to, not even just not to like tell them who the spy in Paris they have is, or some such thing. They didn't even want them to let them know that they had spies in Paris. So there was a lot of friction between the two organizations. I don't know if in the field, if in the point that they get shooting at each other, not as in, oh, I'm on their team, so I'm shooting the other guy. No, but I mean as in mostly because SOE was tasked at direct action, kinetic action, to use the modern term, basically killing people. Where British intelligence was organized around not doing anything to rock the boat, but just trying to gather as much information so that, the various military branches as well as the political branch of government can make good decisions. So it's quite possible that the SOE would ambush, I mean, not like it was going on all the time, but would ambush, say, a convoy in which a British intelligence asset would be in, or plant a bomb in a building that one of the people in the building is a good working source for British intelligence, not knowing that you shouldn't bomb that building because we have the spy in there and we don't want to kill the spy much more than we want to maybe kill some of the other people working in that building. They didn't even even do this stuff. So there is definitely kinetic problems between that kind of stuff, and that's just on the British side. You have the German side and all of that going on. So multiple agencies would be something that I would look about having in, and having to some degree, depending on the agency, and I would sort of go with some historical stuff, that you maybe need to duplicate your efforts, meaning have an army department for the SOE and the army department for British intelligence, that kind of thing, to do it. Yeah, spy versus spy, and this could turn into too much, James, and I do take that point of too much of a intelligence management game could turn into that. Not that that wouldn't be a good game, but that's definitely... Okay, so we now have the Spanish Civil War going. Let's see if we can... send volunteers. 2 divisions, okay. So let's come to Guderian's little group. Come on back over to here. And we're going to kick out the unassigned unit. Yes. Okay, now. So we're going to send them down. France had lots of spies. Yeah, I don't know a lot about the French. I'm sure they did. I just don't know a lot about the French setup. Yes, we should, and I don't know if I can do that just yet. Last time when I tried to do that, they wouldn't let me send in aircraft. Negotiate license. Send an invite to faction. Let me send volunteers. Will it just let me send them there? Okay, let's see. We'll wait till our expeditionary force gets there. Yeah, okay, yeah, the game's dumb, as you say. Let's see now. Where's an airbase that I can send to? Okay, send air volunteers. Let's see if it's going to let me do that now. 14 days. Okay, very good. They're coming down. Okay. Now we can recruit another spy, and again, we have to remember our spies are our primary. Okay, we're going to do Safecracker because he's going to set up and be our person to try to prepare and steal naval blueprints. And if you're wondering why I'm doing naval blueprints, it's because, well, maybe... No, I think if anything, we're going to be ahead on some of the other stuff from Britain, but Britain will maybe be ahead for naval intelligence and filtration effectiveness. Yeah, let's see about getting you switched over to there. See if that will work this time well. Yeah, do Civ or Air. Maybe that would have been better. To placate the... Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're right. I had started on that. Oh, it's under here, yes. I want to outdo Britain on this. Regency upgraded. Cipher. Now we have that going. Deal blueprint risk will be reduced with that. Let's look back. Where are my volunteers? Okay, well, let's take out this small pocket first. Now, I hear what you're saying, Drunken Barbarian, about large versus quality. But I have no current plans to really put research. Okay, we've already got that. So you guys just keep moving down to there. Putting research in on naval elements. Can we send... How much of an air force can we send down there? There we go. I think 2 80-wing groups will be good. Okay. You come up and do air cover, and you come out and do tactical bombing, of course. Well, that's an interesting point, James. I like that, you know, the spies, France had lots of spies, but they didn't stop Hitler. Interesting comment. Did all of the intelligence work? And from that, we could put... And we will be building aerial reconnaissance aircrafts. Thank you, Loud Motorcycle. The intelligence work from, you know, aerial reconnaissance, trying to pick up the, not just simple, there's simple things like, hey, V1 launching sites or you know, V1 bombs are landing on Britain. Where are their launching sites? We want to find them to bomb them. Yeah, that's intelligence work, absolutely. But that's sort of, you know, normal sort of things like, oh, you know, intelligence work, reconnaissance troops, they're looking through their binoculars, looking to where's the enemy. That's, you know, gaining intelligence on, you know, where the enemy is. So obviously that kind of stuff. But then you have early on, or before that stage, you have, say, trying to get information about Peenemünde and the rocket programs. You know, trying to get all that stuff going on. And so whether you have spies informing you about Peenemünde, which I think they did, and then you have aerial reconnaissance that's trying to figure out what the hell, you know, what's sort of going on there. did any of that affect the outcome of the war, as in who won, who lost? I don't know that it did, but it definitely affected things like the cost of the victory or the loss. So I think it is an important element there. We're going to go with the Hermann Goering Werk now. Visible ink, very good. Now back to intelligence. So, our operation prepared. So let's commence the operation here. Radio's finished. Okay, it looks like infiltrate Navy. Okay, it's in progress. Let's do radio detection. Advisory found heavy water facilities, made 3D photos from the sites, all invaluable. Ian Finley dropped a dead Welsh guy off the... Yes, I do coast to fake plans for the invasion Germans brought into making D-Day. Yes, mincemeat, that's absolutely right there. IKB and Drunken Barbarian. And so, but there's invaluable... I'm not going to go that I'm not trying to knock it, but I'm trying to understand, because James' comment, you know, that France had lots of spies, but they didn't stop Hitler. And if you had told France, because this is what I'm trying to get at, and James's question is, or comment is, very provocative, is had you given the actual movement plans and updated them for the to the French High Command, I'm sure it would have made a difference, but would it have meant that France could have defeated the invasion, the German invasion? And I just don't know that the French army was up to, because obviously, you know, even if you got what the plans are, you know, day one, plans are subject to change and the war changes it. I just don't know that they had the capability of dealing with a modern, rapidly changing battlefield at all. And so they might not have rushed the large amount of forces into Belgium to try to stop the forces there and kept them back, you know, in Sedan and this sort of area here to blunt that out. But I don't know if that would have meant a oh well, yeah, Evil Moon base, of course. But who doesn't? I would love to have an Evil Moon base too. You know, I mean, these governments stopping us from having our Evil Moon bases, and so you know, if Hitler had, or if the German army had, oh, this is where D-Day is going to happen. Yeah, if they knew in 1942 that this is, no matter what we do, this is where it's going to be the invasion here. I notice I put in 42. They could have, you know, built up a super west wall here, ignoring all of the defenses, and defeat that invasion. But knowing it just, say, a month or two that this is the planned invasion path, would that have changed the outcome? I don't know. And so now, with mincemeat and others, I know Mel Mincemeat was dealing with earlier stuff, but with the Bodyguard of Lies, what was the Churchill's for the trying to disguise where, you know, from Norway to Spain, the D-Day, his operation, but trying to bluff the Germans into the idea that the invasion could come everywhere, and trying to get them to disperse their defense capabilities. And then with the I forget all these names as I try to pull them up. The guy that they used to send the message that no, the invasion is still yet to come to Calais. The delaying, so it delays the reinforcements getting to Normandy. That definitely has an influence on the Battle of Normandy, absolutely. But I don't know that the 2-3 day delay changes the outcome. That's sort of the thing. Whether it changes the outcome or not is where I'm a little more skeptical. I'm not in any way suggesting they should not continue or do spies, but I'm wondering, in the game sense, how much should we expect out of it? Should you, with enough spies, defeat the German invasion of the Soviet Union? I don't know the answer for sure there on that. Okay, go on. No. Don't wait for them to attack, 'cause there's 2 good divisions there. Or 2 healthy divisions there, at least. Okay, now that this is mostly done, let's shift to here, and let's shift to here. And well, let's just, yeah, let them get shifted first. Nope, you come up over to this. Why don't you let me shift areas of operation? Hold air wings, okay. Now you come over here and strategically bomb, and you over here and go after enemy air. Garbo, that's right, Garbo, thanks. Yes, you're absolutely, yeah, from Portugal. Sorry about that. Yeah, Garbo, that's exactly who. As in Greta Garbo. Okay, yeah, let's crush them and build Boa. Yes, you can, and but if I lower stability and war support, that doesn't win you the war. You have to actually win the war. So yeah, this isn't an argument either whether in the game or in reality whether intelligence and spying is useful. It's just, I guess I'm looking at the decision points. What decides the outcome? Now, yeah, it's cumulative of everything, I'm sure, but that is just sort of where I am at that. Mechanical computing and dispersed industry, very nice. Come over here. We are not yet in 38, so we will not pursue that. I'm going to rush those a little bit later. Or push through that, I think. Let's come over here and start some doctrine training. I know that'll be quite a while, but we're going to get scout planes researched. And yes, we're coming back to look at this, and I want to look at that one that's in progress. Okay. And spy versus spy, automatically repeat. Oh no, we don't need to repeat infiltrate the Navy, but this is not the stealing operation here per se. Trying to figure. We should have a lot more spying operations going on. And I personally am fine with slowing down the game and pausing it a lot, just a general idea. And I don't know if that's going to be commonly true with Hearts of Iron 4 players. Because we should be having, because you talk about, you know, stability and war support. We should be having a spy operation going in Spain right now. We should have, unlike I commented, going on in Austria and Czechoslovakia for sure. But we should be running multiples of these organizations going on all at once, in my opinion. Now, doesn't mean we need to have every spy everywhere, and you know, have 300 different spies in our spy headquarters and sending them out on all different missions everywhere, you know, to Japan, to China, to wherever, and detail that. So this can be, shall we say, a few high profile, a few main focus events going on. That I think is where it should be, but a few doesn't mean one or two here. Oh, that's right, the anarchist. Okay, well, still want to cut them off a little bit here. But yeah, okay. You are right about that drunken barbarian. Yeah, there's definitely the, you know, pre-war activities, but I am sort of trying to think of I don't know. Okay, this battle is not going well enough. You stop. Yeah, let's come down to last time, and we'll come down here and cut these guys off. So we'll cut off the coastline here and create another pocket down there. And we're going to get organized up, and let's look at the terrain. Mountains, mountains, mountains. Yes, that's the way Spain is. I've been reading about the Peninsula Wars recently. Okay, drive there. Come on, Italian. Use your mountain division and come with me. Hermann-Göringberg. Very good. West Wall. They need some national focuses to affect the spying thing. No, I think we'll skip that for now, but just for now. Army innovations, research, land doctrines. Yeah, that's where we're going to go next. And because we got Hermann Goering Works, let's look at this, pushing ahead. And I know we're going to cut down in a moment here when we work on another spy agency here. Yeah, we'll do propaganda. That seems like a good one for the Nazis. They were big into propaganda in their efforts. Can we send more of an air force down there? I don't know if we can. Will you let me? Yes, you will let me, it looks like. Okay, so you come down to here. No, you, yeah. No, I guess. You're not? I don't know. No. I think we maxed out our Air Force potential down there, which is okay. Okay. 64 days, 64 days, 85. Yeah, we're not that far ahead. Yeah, okay. Yeah, another 50, that's, yeah, not that big of a unit. Okay, so let's see if we can create a smaller unit here. There we go. 40 will do. There we go. Bombers to help down here in our southern. And we should also see about first getting here. Keep that going, and now you're there. Okay, so come up here. Didn't have you properly selected, I guess. I don't know. And go, don't. We're not trying to bomb what we want to own. Yeah, okay, maybe you do need to be drunk to enjoy listening to me blather on about things. Okay, completed. Let's see. Excellent. Excellent. So we've infiltrated the Navy. Under cover of very adverse weather, our team found the previously scouted trail and proceeded across the border without further blah 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 blah. Okay. So we've done that. Now we want to prepare to steal blueprints. And this is going to take all of our spies. And this is sort of because we stop with the network and we're going to automatically repeat this. And it takes all of this going on. Is my sort of bit of a problem with this. Yes, we're already pushing here. Hopefully we're going to immediately hit another one as soon as 6 days are up. Hope it's not letting us. See if we can recruit in France here. See what we get with that. Yes, right there. Go right back in. Okay, good. We've taken here and we'll rush with the panzers down to there. There we go. Now we've cut off this pocket. Don't you get cut off back, but crush it. Push on Grenada there.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Radio detection very good, and we're into the next year, so this will go even faster. And okay, 5 days for that, but we have enough. Yeah, we want to do the land research doctrine speed boost. Okay, well at least they're under enemy air superiority. Oh, and we are getting some air support. Very good sometimes. Now how... commence. In progress, that's what I wanted to make sure we were doing. Army innovations, very good. That will also help with a lot of stuff coming. Hey, Sads. How goes you? And just so you know, Azads, I am also live on YouTube because I know at times you've had problems with Twitch. So if you want to try to get the live stream on YouTube, you very well can. Try it over there, if that helps things out for you. But happy to have you either location. And that goes for everybody. You can watch me, and I'm watching the chat from both. Why did you stop attacking Armored Division? And we can do more. We're going to do a couple of more civilian factories because I did a few extra or early. Military factories. Yeah, we're not going to go, and please don't use keywords. They don't need to be demonetized, so I'm not going to say certain words, but I am minimizing contact right now. Doesn't mean I'm not going to the grocery store and things, but just doing a little less than otherwise might be the case. Okay, you hit there. You support that attack. I think it's best for a few weeks. One, it will allow the medical industry to spool up and be better prepared for things. Two, it may break what do you want to call it? Not chain of custody, but chain of contact kind of thing, if you will. No, Azaz, I did not. Sorry, I don't check Facebook all that much. Gotta thank Ari and, well, primarily Arno, but also Ari for setting some of those up. And I really do appreciate it. And I'm trying to use it more, but I can't say that I check it often. So I have not seen that yet. Okay, so we cleaned up 2 pockets down here and up here. That is good. And let's, again, we're trying to beat the British to domination of the Dutch trade. Well, I think a coastal push may be the best here. They're still in that zone. They're up there. Okay, so they're both of them are being useful. Getting some air experience, getting some ground experience. We have command power. Let's see if we can. Well, Guderian, can we? No, this is what I want to do. Okay, armored division defense, increased chance of executing blitzkrieg and encirclement. Yeah, we're gonna go Panzer expert. We're gonna get you that right now. As seeing as he was the Panzer expert. Okay, I will definitely look into it. Well, the situation is going to improve. And again, I don't need to be demonetized, so we're not going. I'm not going to say certain words, as it were. But we support that attack. Let's stay there so we don't get cut off ourselves. Everything from a vaccine to just other elements is all handleable, shall we say. And so I think that just spooling it up is the real sort of question situation, shall we say. Yeah, and please note carefully what Brett says there. How long? Okay, KDF weapons are almost done. Okay, KDF wagon. Do we want to do this right now, or do we want to do... Because I'm thinking about the research slots. That war economy, which is very nice. Treaty with the USSR, which will help get my tank models ahead, so we're going to do that. That should not be a 70-day one. One more civil factory at this time. And yeah, we're gonna do, yeah, there we go. Excavation. Yeah, well, once we get the Soviet treaty and whatnot, we'll see about going for more armor. Okay, okay, we got some more days still. See if we can continue this operation here. At least we haven't had any spies captured this game. Well, we're gonna just hold here for the moment. I think we can do that while the nationalist government figures things out. Well, before I start more of that, let's look at continuing to push on some of these. Yeah, let's do diplomatic training. And do we still, okay, I want to start, because this will go fairly quickly. Yeah, let's do a couple of those just to get them into production. Modifying the government. Where's Rommel? Where's Rommel? Where? Up here, yeah. That will help our operations in Spain. At least Italy seems to be somewhat active. I remember times when the other volunteer units would come and just sit somewhere. Well, I hope it doesn't become too bad for you there, drunken barbarian. Hello, Dijon. Oh, okay. Dijon, what is your view of NATO intervention in Yugoslavia to protect Albanians and their help in 2001 Albanian Liberation Army in Macedonia? Okay. I don't know that I have a trying to remember those days, a good tactical appreciation of what was being done, meaning what do I think of how well the operations went. I can't really judge it on that because I'm trying to remember the old news reports, what I was getting way back when. I just don't have good enough. I don't want to either presume, because I remember them trying to set up safe areas. I remember people evacuating areas, and there was a chaos going on. But I don't know whether I would call it the NATO response good or effective or ineffective for what is reasonable under the conditions. So I really can't, and I don't want to make a judgment on that. I'd rather just admit to not knowing it than try to presume that. Now, on whether they should do things like that. Well, okay, what is NATO's mission? Essentially, is stability in Europe. And so, I think most Americans do appreciate that most significant NATO countries help out in Afghanistan after the 9/11 attacks, because that was obviously an attack on a NATO member, the U.S., and they're all obligated to come and help with that. So, and that's a bit further afield than, say, Europe, of course, but like I say, it's the primary mission of NATO is stability in Europe. I think so. Yugoslavia breaking up. Yugoslavia, which is essentially your question there, Dijon, was an artificial state. Oh, how do I want to say this? Yugoslavia rewarded very bad actions by the Serbian state. The Serbian state plunges the world into a war, a world war. Keep the Americans in, the Germans down, and the Russians out. Okay, IKB. Yeah, but you see, you get my point. I like your little. So, Serbia, in killing the the Serbian government agents arm the people, they gave them the Browning pistols to very, very brand new Browning pistols, the highest tech pistols of their day, as well as the hand grenades, to the assassination squad that goes after the Archduke and ultimately kills the Archduke Ferdinand, that causes the outbreak of World War I. Now, Germany might very legitimately, and I would generally say does bear a certain amount of response for spreading the war, particularly into Belgium, which really had nothing to do with the war on either side. They weren't pushing either way. So Yugoslavia is created after World War I in this format here, obviously after World War I, borders change, particularly things like this, and this goes over after Italy grabs this up from Austrian Empire from being on one side in World War I, loses it for being on the other side in World War II. So Yugoslavia is an artificial state rewarding the Serbian government. And Dijon Dermaku, I have no idea what your ethnicity is, and I guess you have some attachment to the region, so I'm not saying this to please or displease anybody here. The Serbs did very bad. They get rewarded with this artificial state. Tito continues Yugoslavia afterwards, and for various reasons, both East and West want to keep Yugoslavia going. Well, as we find out, without significant external support, Yugoslavia isn't really going, because Yugoslavia's in 1936, 1937 is coming near to collapse already, and they have to appease the Croats within their country at that point to keep Yugoslavia together. So it's an artificial state. It either needs to stay together by force, by terror, or it's going to break apart. And so you're dealing with the breakup of that. And that is a thanks, Arno. Is a legitimate cause of concern, because this part of the world definitely starts one world war. It's much more Poland, but border changes start a second world war, if you will. So NATO wants to, shall we say, soft land the breakup of Yugoslavia, because you have Russian interests which are going back to Serbia, and I mean Serbia is in the state before Yugoslavia is created. Russians have been interested in the region since that time, is pushing from one side and other concerns pushing from the other side. So NATO should get involved in a breakup of Yugoslavia. That doesn't mean that NATO should be involved, I don't know, in the breakup of Sudan or something just because it's breaking up. I'm not because there's a war somewhere, NATO or the US or whoever needs to get involved kind of person. But definitely here, the breakup. So Yugoslavia should have been broken up. Yugoslavia, especially, again, my understanding is during the Tito era, is artificially trying to turn it into a Serbian superstate. They're doing settlements in areas outside of natural Serbian occupation. And you will see bifurcated towns in which you have a traditional town or city or whatever you want to call it, but not like a major cities, maybe like Zagreb or whatever. Just coming from sort of an American and Californian with cities like Los Angeles. I don't know if anything anywhere in Yugoslavia to this day comes close to it. I'm sorry for my ignorance if it does. Hello, Sports Gamer 14. How you doing? Yeah, under Tito. And so under Tito is so they come to a town, a city, whatever, that's been there for however long, and on the outskirts of it set up like a new sort of new build bunch of apartment blocks, and move into those apartment blocks a bunch of Serbs. I don't know the details. I don't know it's like, hey, free housing over here, anybody wants to come, or whether it's they were, because again, this is a dictatorial communist regime, picking up people and forcibly moving them. I just don't know. This is ignorance. And so, well, I got sidetracked by Dijon's talk, which is sort of interesting. So you get this relatively recent post-World War II, and we're talking about 1990s breakup of Yugoslavia. So they're maybe a generation or so old. So you get not just ethnic intermixing, you get artificial ethnic claiming and domination. So the idea of the Croats saying, hey, non-Croats leave, I'm not so against that. Going, hey, you're not Croats, let's go murder you, I'm against that. So, I don't know what's used, added block term. Okay, yes, neutrality. Please put it differently. Okay, thanks, Arno. So, yes, communism. So, you get that breakup. And so there needs to be a breakup. Obviously, Yugoslavia, Serbia, Greater Serbia, whatever you want to call it, is going to fight to retain what it can. And it does that. And I don't blame it for trying to retain what it can, but it breaks it up. So there's a lot of ugliness going on. There is, shall we say, traditional, if you look at, and all maps are propaganda. One thing you need to do, call it a city niece. Yes, cathedral, I know, RKB. Talking because he silenced the people. Help, I'm being oppressed. Okay, you need to be oppressed a bit, maybe. You're probably a white male, drunken barbarian, as being a Welshman. So, white males need to be oppressed. I understand that's the new rage. So yeah, and don't come to crying to me from what Arno's doing. He has my full support. So, so like I say, all maps are propaganda. That doesn't make them untrue, but you can look, and I'm not going to easily dig up now, but some of the and I say this because post World War I ethnic maps that are created, sometimes by Germany, sometimes by commissions dealing with Versailles treaties and other treaties relating to them, trying to figure out boundaries and borders and whatnot. So unfortunately, people get fucked. Okay, it happens. I don't know of a better way to put it. The Holy Roman Empire and its sort of state or control system, I don't know, because you have the bishopry of Munster or something, and then you have Munster proper, and then you have all these other little wacky things make border gore of EU4 look positively rational and sane and whatnot. So you need to gay married Moscow. Yeah, I know Stasi gay married Moscow. So you need to have rational borders at some point of the situation, and ethnic minorities, whether racial or cultural or others, can work out and be just fine. Whether you're looking at the Welsh and we can talk, and trust me, being of both English and Scottish descent, I definitely know the oppression of Scots and the Highland Scots and whatnots. But you can ultimately say in the 20th century, I'll say, not the 18th and not before, you really don't have, and particularly in Britain, but particularly in Lower Britain, you have a unified state system between England and Wales and Cornwall. I don't see overly, oppression of the Welsh. And Drunken Barbarian can disagree with me if he has that. Yes, well, you're a minority, but you're a white guy, so it doesn't count. So, I see, because I've visited Wales a bit, and still to this day in northern Wales they still speak Welsh fairly commonly. So, yeah, that can exist just fine. In Scotland you have, and the reason because Scotland, there's a different legal system. They all vote for the same central parliament back in the 20th century, most of it, until they got their own parliament here. But so, it's still a little bit different, and you have the highland and lowland divide. So you can have ethnic minorities that aren't seriously oppressed. And so, yeah. But that's not always going to be the case, and especially when you have, whether it's Christian versus Muslim or Orthodox versus Catholic, sort of cultural divides between these groups that have been at each other's throats for hundreds of years. I can see that, this is modern hate speech kind of thing. I can see the need for a certain level of ethnic cleansing. That doesn't mean you don't pay them money for their property that you're confiscating. Doesn't mean you don't let them have it in orderly saying in 2 years from now you'll need to be out of here because and you'll have time to sell up your house. If you don't sell, and if no one's buying it at a good price, we'll buy it at a decent price, so you'll have time to get your possessions out. And yes, we're still fucking you by kicking you off of your ancestral lands, but we're creating a rational state here. Now, that's different than necessarily trying to grab up every bit of territory that you can. So, yeah, maybe Albanians needed to go to Albania, and I've become a little more sympathetic to the Greeks and their complaints about calling Macedonia up here, which is sort of geographically, at least part of it in old Macedonia, but culturally, ethnically, I have no idea about genetically, but culturally and ethnically, they are not Greek Macedonians or the Macedonians of Alexander the Great or whatever you want to call them. But whatever this sort of more related to Bulgaria, I think culturally, state, and then Serbia, then Albania, than Greece, but whatever you want to call this state, creating a rational state here. So whether the Albanian border should change a bit to include some of the, the mountains here, I don't know, but you need to create rational states. So I can't but say that, yeah, it sucks at times, okay? It just does. I don't have a better answer to that. And that, I know they got me off, and let's see. Long time back, but recent centuries. Yes. Oh, long time back. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, swamp Germans. At an almost infinite amount of ethnic enclaves. Yes, absolutely, IKB. And that is partially the fault of the Habsburg monarchy with their empire, but not entirely. I'm saying partly, and that might be 10% their fault, 20% their fault, 30% their fault, because they were trying to create a multi-ethnic state, but also trying to have a German elite ruling class over it. So they were creating little German pockets around, outside. A lot less, again, I can be wrong on this, but from my observations of looking at history, a lot less abrupt and forcefully than the Tito ethnic thing. Yes, you're very right. And that's sort of what I was saying. Tito made out the Bulgars, Macedonians, created this maybe passive people's identity. Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about the difference between German Nazis and Italian fascists? I'm not too informed on that stuff. Well, we're going to end this episode, not the live stream. We're going to end this episode now. And again, if you are watching it later on YouTube, you might want to check the live streams out, because we do talk about very interesting topics that often happen between recorded episodes. So we're going to be ending here. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, please like, and of course, please make a comment. Just say hi. Love to hear from you.